Hey guys, this is gonna be a video on how to properly break down a Honda carburetor, 6.5 horse. First of all, to get these two nuts off, you're gonna need a 10mm socket on a 1/4" star bracket or 3/8, whichever one you prefer. And I don't know where the 10mm is, so I'll use a deep well. Actually, I think I know where it is. Up there somewhere. Bastard. It was on my thing right here. Socket. Then, once you get your socket and your ratchet, you want to put it to where it's on reverse to take them off, and then you just break them loose. And if you don't have these tools, usually when you buy a mini bike, they come with them. And sometimes with other items that you buy, the motors that come on them, they'll come with the tools sometimes. Not always. Once you get them broke loose, you can spin them off. They'll need to be a little bit looser. Come on. These are tight. And you just spin off. And just put these nuts somewhere to where you don't lose them. And this slides off. And you just set that to the side. And then here's the carburetor. And then, if you can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you slide the carburetor out some, there's this bar right there. And it, you gotta turn it like that, so you can pop it out. And then your fuel line's connected, which this isn't, because I don't have a fuel tank on it. And after you take the spacer off, so you don't lose it, and put it somewhere, you can just slide the carburetor off, and then there's the carburetor. And now to start, if the, you can take this bolt here out, with your 10mm socket again. One second. And that's tight. 1 second. Dang, it's tight. Then you break it loose. And then you can just spin it off. Doesn't it? And there's a little washer right there that sometimes it wears out and gets all gassy and starts to just break down and mess up, and sometimes it'll make your bowl leak a little bit, but not always. I've never had a problem with that. There's the inside of the bowl. Set the bowl over there. Now actually there is some of my gasket on the actual in the bowl. That was in the bowl. So we might want to get rid of that. And then just get rid of it. And then to get your float here off, you take there's a little pin right here in the hands, and you just slide it out, and you don't want to lose it. Slide it out and put it somewhere, and then you can take the float off. There's the float, and there's the jet. There's the needle seat, or whatever you want to call it. That's what stops the fuel. When the fuel goes in, it rises it up, and pushes the needle. It rises up and pushes the needle down, so it stops the fuel flow through the carburetor. And now this right here, I'm not going to take this off because all it is you break and take that nut off, or take the actual thing off. I might go do no. And all it is for right there, your fuel shut off. That's on, that's off. That's all that is. And then that's your float butterfly. I mean, not your choke butterfly. And then there's for your throttle and stuff, your butterfly. And see that right there? That's what controls the actual idle speed of the carburetor. And then in there is the main jet and the emulsion tube. Let me find a screwdriver that'll fit in there. That'll work. And this is a bad carburetor, so I'm not worried about messing the threads up or anything. And it must not be out all the way. Out the rest of the way. I obviously messed the threads up, so there it is. Damn it, I'm out. Technical. That worked. And there's the jet. It's got a really tiny hole. You probably can't even see through it with the camera, but there's the jet. And all it is, it's got threads on it, and the threads they screw into this little tube, and beyond there is the emulsion tube. I have trouble pronouncing that. But that right there, and sometimes it'll just fall out. You can't see it, but there's a gold piece in the middle of the carburetor. That right there, you can take like a screwdriver or like a little pick or something, and you can push down on it, and they'll usually pop out. That's what I've had to do in the past. And then that right there, that's where the needle on the float goes and stops the fuel. And then I guess I'm gonna try to get the emulsion tube out. And I don't think this one to come out. Okay, that's not gonna work, but I think you get the picture. And then that is just your idle screw. And then to remove the butterfly, there's a small Phillips head right there. And you just take your Phillips head screwdriver and you can unscrew that. And and then right there, that is your fuel, and that's your fuel mixture. And sometimes you can mess with it if you want to get a little more fuel, but sometimes it's best just not to. And then under that cap, I've never tried eating it off. I'm not sure if there's anything under there or not. And this is a Ruxin carb. I think that's pretty good. And these are just a couple passageways. And if you want a clean one, what you would do is you just, you tear it apart like this and take that off and clean that out real good and blow through all your passageways and blow through the bottom and stuff. And if you want to know if it's working good, I don't remember if you have to have that on or off, but you can blow through the tube right here, and you gotta have the float on, and you be able to push up on the float when you're blowing through the little tube right there, but the fuel on, and if you push up on the float, it should stop it. And if it does that, your carburetor should work fine and your motor should run fine. This is just a video on to how to properly tear one apart, a 6.5 horsepower Honda or clone carburetor apart, and to put it back together is the same as tearing it apart. So, holla.